Hey y'all, welcome back. Today I'm so excited to share with you a quick, chatty, get ready with me, sharing with you my quick makeup routine and just some life updates from the month of September and a little bit of August as well. So without further hesitation, let's get cozy and get right into this video. Okay, I have been keeping my makeup really simple over the last month and a half. I have been starting off with a little bit of spot concealing using the NARS Soft Matte Complete Concealer. So let's start off shade Vanilla when it's an everyday basis and I just want to get ready quickly and get out of the door. I've been using the Real Techniques setting brush and I use this just to quickly buff over my eyes. It doesn't need to be perfect at this step. We're gonna go back in just a moment and blend, but I like to get it on nice and quick. Then on my cheeks, where I like to do a little bit of brightening and cover up hyperpigmentation and redness, mush it around under my eye area. So that way it's just covering. This past month and a half, I have been craving so much change and it's just, I want to explore more of myself. And it's interesting because I love what I do. I love creating content. I love working in beauty, but I want more. I've been in beauty pretty much my entire adult life. And it's interesting because I've always had an interest in it, but I truly feel like I got my start in it out of like a protest after being told by like my family and people around me, this is not an industry for me. And it became very quickly like, I will show you what I can do. So I did, and I succeeded. And then I was curious and I wanted to dabble in social media. And then very beginning of social media, I don't feel like I'm the type of person with that dynamic personality that's going to go viral, and that's okay with me. I feel like my life choices and the way that feels authentic to me to live my life is polarizing enough for some people. I'm okay not adding more to that, and that's just not who I am as a person. I like things to be very mild. I like things to be nice and easy. So I've been just craving some change, and I was talking to my husband. I'm like, you know what? I'm thinking about applying to like new jobs, exploring totally new arenas. And I've put in a couple applications and I'm really excited to see where things go. I don't know if this will be like a forever change, but right now I'm really excited to try something new and see what's out there in the world. With this stuff, I normally do this right after my skincare is dried down, and I will go about let this sit down for a bit while it's drying. And that's something I've mentioned in a few other videos, that when I start recording, this step has been on my face for sometimes up to 30 minutes. If it's every day and I'm just sitting down, I will start blending out in the areas of lowest priority. That way the areas like around my mouth where I want more color correction, where it can sit and kind of cling to the skin a little bit more to give me a little bit more coverage. I'm gonna go ahead and do my eye makeup. I've been keeping it very simple. The most consistent eyeshadow I've been using is my Lisa Eldridge Liquid Lurex in the shade Bianca. And I love this shade because it's easy. It's easy, it makes it look like you put in a lot of effort, but it doesn't take you long. And part of what I've been doing with my makeup routine, since I've always worked in beauty, I've always put so much time in getting ready. Like when I was working in cosmetics or things like that, I would always budget at least an hour, hour and a half for me to get ready. I enjoy getting ready. I don't like making the getting ready and this therapy ritual for myself part of my work life. I like to keep some things separate so that way they stay feeling special. In the morning, my makeup routine does still feel special, but it doesn't have that same type of special feeling that it does when I'm going out or getting ready just to get ready for myself. And I want to keep that because that feels very sacred. That's like my moment of renewal and to get myself ready for whatever the day has in store. So I want to keep that for me. I'm gonna now use a little bit of my Laura Geller Baked Balance in Brighten and Porcelain, and I've been using this large fluffy brush. Since this is a baked powder foundation, it starts off as a cream, it's baked on a tile, So that way, if you use it over a liquid or cream base, you don't have to worry about it sticking as much. So you can use it to blend on things or set areas without being overly cautious. Because if you try to do this with like a loose powder or a normal pressed powder foundation, it could get sticky and it could cling, it could drag. And using a baked formula, this is really great. When I worked for MAC, this is something that one of the trainers shared with me, and we would use the Mineralized Skin Finish Natural, and that was a great tip. Now that I've got powder on my eyes, I like to bridge the skin tone shade with the shimmer on my lid, and I've been using the single I found at a cosmetic company outlet. This is from MAC. This is the shade Cozy Gray. And using this, I don't want to be overly precise. I want my makeup, again, to stay very quick and very brightening and pretty. Right on the socket line, angled up, I will do this just to add a very subtle contour. The shade Bianca from Lisa Eldridge, it's almost like a pink rose gold with a lavender sparkle in it. And when you apply it to the lid, blend it out, and it can almost take on a slightly grayish tint. So I like reinforcing that with the shade Cozy Gray. And it is such an easy everyday look that makes this more vibrant, pinky shade feel less like a bright pink and more of like an extension of my skin, almost like a more glossy flushed version of my natural eyelid skin. Once I have that on, I like to go back in and I will do a secondary layer of Bianca. I don't do this every single day, but there's some days like today, for instance, I would love a little extra sparkle. How are you feeling? Have you ever just had a moment where you just want a lot of change? You want to explore new areas and facets about yourself? Let me know. I have been very interested in hearing that. A few years ago, one of my girlfriends that I met working in cosmetics, she was craving a change. We were also in the middle of lockdown and she was craving change, and she took a chance, applied for a job that was outside of our normal realm, and she has thrived. Like, she has made her way up from entry level and now she is like managing a large team, and I find that so inspiring, and I want to see what else I can do. I think that's the big thing for me, is I've just been very curious to explore more of my potential. So now I'm going to go ahead and apply a little bit of mascara, Benefit Bad Gal Bang in the burgundy shade, and I love this so much. I find with this, since it creates a lot of contrast against the blue-green of my eyes, it really helps to define, and it never looks too heavy or stark like a black or even a dark brown. Something else that's been interesting, and this for me was something that when I started my hormone replacement therapy for like my gender affirming care, I was like, oh my goodness, I can pursue things that I wanted to do as a child. And one of my favorite things as a child was to watch beauty pageants, like the Miss America pageants or the Miss Universe were always a big favorite. I just thought it was so beautiful, and you could see these incredible women sharing their talent, sharing bits about their culture. And it was something that as a kid, I just remember I wanted to do. And it's like, you can't do that. Boys can't do that. But then when I started my affirming journey, I'm like, oh my goodness, I could do this now. So I began exploring a couple different avenues for different pageants for trans women, and I found a few. I have got my eye on a few different ones. As the time gets closer, as I settle down on which one I want to do, I will share more about that with you, because like for the applications and everything like that, I am excited. I'm so excited. So for the last 2-3 months, I've been working on it and working on like the way I speak, working on my posture, my presence, my walk, thinking about how I want to answer certain questions. The political climate in the world, the social climate, there's so much going on. So figuring out ways to articulate the way in which I speak, that in a way that feels direct but easy to understand, has been a really big interest of mine. And I'm just so excited to see what this does. And only thing is, there's a couple couple of the pageant circuits that are open for trans women. Either I am too old because I'm 35, I'm either too old, or my year to compete would be like age 36 is one of the cutoffs. So next year would be my last year to cut off. And I've been going through a weight loss journey. I've lost almost 50 pounds now on my own. I still have like another 80 pounds I want to lose, but I want to I was like, okay, let's go for the ones where I can be like 36 and apply. That is where I'm at with that right now. And I'm so excited. It's given me such drive and passion to pursue bettering myself, working on my all over health, thinking about how I would be able to serve my community. And like, as of right now, the pageant contestants I've seen from the different organizations, they are stunning. They are so pretty. I feel like they are so much prettier than I am. And by that point, I might have some cosmetic procedures done, like I might have my chest augmentation done by then, but I'm definitely sure that I won't have any type of my facial procedures done by then. So I'm gonna be applying with like my male puberty face and makeup and, you know, the nose job I had decades ago, not decades ago, like a decade ago, and makeup and some cosmetic filler. But I'm just so eager, so eager for the opportunity to apply, to put my heart and soul into this and just say that I did it. Even if I'm not selected, I can say I gave it my best, I gave it my all, and I'm so excited. As I get more comfortable, we'll go more and more into the prep and my walking to pursuing a childhood dream. So I'm excited to share more of that with you as we go forward. For my everyday base makeup, I kind of leave eyes here for the most part, and then I go straight into foundation. I've been keeping it so easy. I've been trying to finish up my Sephora Best Skin Ever. I've also been working on finishing off my Tarte Maracuja Tinted Hydrator. This is the shade 13 Fair Light Beige. To keep everything really easy, I start with one sponge, and I don't worry about blending out that concealer because the concealer will blend as I apply my tinted hydrator on top of it. And I've been liking to keep my beauty sponge slightly more damp than I normally would, so that way it can diffuse it. I find now that I've been doing this step with the NARS Radiant Creamy Concealer under my foundation, I feel a lot more comfortable with less coverage because the concealing under my foundation is taking care of a lot of the areas of concern. And for me, if I spot treat there, then go through and build up, I'm a lot happier with a slightly more diffused, natural look. I still like to do all the steps. I still like to feel my everyday glam, but it's nice just being able to use products that are a little bit lighter on the skin. And keeping my sponge slightly more damp will allow me to kind of spread out and thin out the products a little bit more. When I'm not talking, this makeup routine will take me about 10 minutes. And that is a huge win in my book. Sometimes I will even go right over my brow. I had that microblading that I'm trying to cover, and I mention it less recently. It's been less of a concern, but that's kind of what I'll do there. Then I like to have a separate sponge. This will either be damp or dry, just depending on what I remember to do that morning. And then I will use the clean sponge to press over and just pick up any of the excess product that is sitting on my skin and then carry that down my neck. In this step, sometimes I will go through and color correct with my Huda Beauty Faux Filter Color Corrector. Typically, I feel like I've got enough correction on, so I will take my Tarte Shape Tape, dot it around where I want a little bit of coverage, and then to add a little bit more pink to help neutralize the slightly warmer beige tone and add a little bit more coverage, then I will use the Tarte Creaseless Creamy Concealer, and this is the shade 20B Light Beige. I just realized that my complexion steps are quite heart heavy, but Tarte will do these sales on their website, and you can get their products for like over 50% off, and it's such a great value because Tarte has some really great products. And with that type of discount, they end up being a lot more affordable than products that you can get now at your drugstore or Walmart. So using my sponge, to blend, diffuse. Anywhere I'm concerned with like pigment or shadowing coming through, I will take whatever's left from the concealer and run it over. Then I like to flip over to the point, up, 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 blend, 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 blend. I should still have a little bit of my product left on the back of my hand where I picked it up with my sponge. The same brush I used for the concealer earlier to now buff right under my eyes, because sometimes the sponge just doesn't get in there like I want to, so I can use the brush, and then I like to warm up my ring finger. I just tap it all in, and that's that. Sometimes if something does feel heavy, I'll use that secondary sponge just to smooth powder foundation again from Laura Geller. And this is definitely like a huge reason why like I've been okay with more sheer layers, because I'm layering my coverage products, but I'm using larger tools and I'm keeping them more diffused. So that way, even though I'm now layering my 4th layer of coverage, we're keeping everything thin and diffused, and I'm opting for formulas that allow me to work quickly, that don't require me to wait between my steps. So that way I can apply everything in a very rapid succession without worrying about powders sticking and clinging to my base makeup if I haven't properly or thoroughly set things like I typically would. Like I've mentioned in a few other videos, I like to think about if I had to go out of the door right now, what would my next step be? I've got something on my eyes, I've got my face done. Let's add a little bit of something to the lips, and this is a BBIA lip tint, and this is in the shade number 16 Summer. This was an Amazon Prime Day purchase, the last Prime Day. I love this shade. You'll see now I have a little bit of a gradient on my lips where I did not remove the foundation or concealer that I got around my lip area, because I normally tuck my lip in. So that gives me a little bit of a gradient. And I feel like this shade, it creates a great base color for whatever I might apply on the top, or I can wear it on its own as like a my lip but better color. And I opted for today's outfit. Today's just a very basic like tank top and this like lightweight jacket. And I can leave my makeup here. I feel confident. I can run errands. I can do a couple Zoom meetings. I can do anything I need to, but I feel put together and like myself. Typically, I would have about 5 more minutes left, so let's embellish my skin a little bit. I have been using my Laura Geller Baked Blush and Brighten Pink Buttercream. I like using this with a large fluffy brush because for me, this is like a hybrid of a blush and bronzer. So I take it off on the back of my hand and then work through. This will just add a little bit of a pinky warmth. If you are someone who's like a soft summer or soft autumn and you can handle a pink with a little bit more warmth, this would be a great blush shade. But if you're someone who's a little bit lighter tone, you can use this as a really gorgeous blush bronzer hybrid. Just keep it light, because if you build it up too much, it can look a little warm orangey. And for this, I like to keep it on the high point. I don't want to take it too low because it can start looking a little like you've got redness all over the face. To keep my blush, I still love to layer my blush, and I'm using a classic favorite. This is the Clinique Blushing Powder Blush in 108 Cupid. This is such a gorgeous shade I love, and it was one of my favorites when I was first getting into makeup. I've been really loving Clinique lately, and Clinique Bare Minerals, a lot of like those heritage brands, the brands that a lot of us started using, and they were almost like generational brands that we learned about from our mums or grandmothers. I have just been loving some of their classic formulas, because I know like even for my mom, she remembers so fondly her love of wearing Clinique's A Different Grape lipstick and New Clover blush when she was in high school, and like they're still available. So they had them on sale Black Friday before last, so I got them both for her, and she was like, oh my goodness, I haven't used these in years. And it's like, she's like, it takes me back. She's like, I feel 10 years younger. And she's like, although I don't know if I would wear these shades together now, they're a little much, but she's like, for the class of 1988, she's like, this was phenomenal. And for me, 2 of my favorites when I first started makeup, because the Estee Lauder counter I worked for was next door to a Clinique counter, I had such a love affair with the shade Cupid and Iced Lotus. To finish off, I like to add a little bit of highlights. I'm going to use my West Mentilly Super Loaded Tinted Highlight in the shade Peau de Rosé. Use my finger, tap it on the high points. You can do a little bit on my nose. Today, I have the habit of just taking whatever I use during the day and throwing it in my bag. I have grabbed all of the lip products I had in my bag from the last month month and a half, and I've got them to share with you, and we'll choose from them today. First thing I have is the Roman Juicy Lasting Tint in number 26 Very Berry Pink. This, I think, was left over from last month because this is a little too vibrant for me right now, late September going into October. I still love this shade. It's one of my favorite shades, but it's a little bright. Then I have two lipsticks. I have the MAC Creme Sheen in Cream Cup. Wow, this is the old formula. I compared the two lipsticks in a previous video. There is Cream Cup is still available in the new Maxima formula. I feel like the shade's a little bit more orangey and it doesn't have the same magic that the Creme Sheen formula of Cream Cup does. So I have the new formula here, but in my bag, I am still keeping the original one. So that will go back in my bag. And the other shade I have is a newer one to my collection. This is the MAC Luster Glass Lipstick in the shade Sellout. This is a really nice kind of like pink peach meets beige nude. I will share this in an upcoming video because it's a really pretty, easy, everyday. But for this look, I want to share something a little bit different. Actually, you know what? I will apply a little bit of this over. I love the MAC Luster Glass formula. It's like a lip gloss meets a lipstick. So I will apply this over, and where I've got this really beautiful punchy pink base, that is a trick I love. Next, I had the NYX lip pencil in the shade New Pink. This is a little bit more of a warm pinky orange, but to help anchor things and make them feel a little bit more autumn, it's a fun shade. I also have Pillow Talk. Pillow Talk is just kind of a here and there. I'm trying to finish it off. You won't really see anything. I'll apply a little bit here, just underneath. I also have the Lawless Forget the Filler lip gloss in the shade Cherry Vanilla. I've almost finished this as well. I love this so much. The trick I want to share with you today is a fun one I found when I was looking up some Reese Witherspoon makeup inspiration. With a few of you, we've talked about like our love of like moving into these deeper, darker autumn winter lip shades, and I struggle with them, especially now that my hair is lighter. I've brightened my complexion, and the colors I wear, they don't really suit some of the more autumn winter shades I used before. So that's where this fell in. Black Honey. I've had this in my collection for a while. I never wore it because it just didn't feel right. I keep this at my desk and I have been applying it over whatever lipstick I'm wearing. I can still wear my spring, summer, brighter colored lipsticks, and I can apply this right on top just to tone down the color and make it a little bit deeper, a little bit more moody. And this was something I found in an interview where Reese Witherspoon wore a Clinique bright pink lipstick, and then her makeup artist put Black Honey over top to help tone it down a bit. For my fragrance, almost every day I'm using a little bit of my beloved Estee Lauder Sensuous Nude. This is a really beautiful coconut, warm, creamy musk scent. I love using this as a base. Sometimes I will wear it at night. Last month I had more of a love affair layering this with the Armani My Way. This is the classic EDP. This month I've moved in a little bit more to my Lancome Idole. Really beautiful, fresh, rosy scent that I feel like really works all year long. Maybe not the best for the depth of winter, but the rest of the year, it's an easy one. And then if I want to add a little bit of an autumn spin, I will take my Replica Autumn Vibe and step into it. And that completes my everyday makeup look and just how life has been over the last month and a half since we had our last sit down and catch up. Let me know what's new for you. What is driving you, inspiring you going into the autumn season, and what's life just felt like lately? Let me know what's new with you, and until we see each other again, I hope you're taking care of yourself wherever it is you're in the world. Bye, y'all.